Hey guys, it's Dmitry here, and in this tutorial, as I promised in the previous one, I'm going to make this functionality is much neater. So as you remember, all these functions they are from previous tutorial, right? And where I discussed about a higher order functions, right? So yeah, it's possible to make this functionality is more readable, and I will show you how. It's going to be really short tutorial, but I think it's worth to show that. So, and again, this Anita functionality available from ES6 version. So before ES6 or ESLint 6, it was impossible, to implement function this way. So let's see. For example, here we have this function, right? And we're returning this function essentially. So what I can do, and you can see like the function itself is still anonymous, but we can even simplify that, right? We can say we can still pass this parameter, then we can define or we can use a fat error, and then you can see here it's a body, right? But in case of error functions, fat or like this kind of functions or ES6 approach functions. So what we can do, even we can simplify even that, right? Because it's just one line of code here, right? And if you have just one line of code in the body, it would allow us to simplify. We don't need these curly braces anymore, and it's still going to work. So another thing is if we just defining like everything on the same line, we don't need even like this return statement anymore. It's still going to work too. Look, it's already looks amazing, right? It's much easier to read. Even like previous, it wasn't that difficult to read, but you can see like it's much neater approach, right? And more thing, guys, because it's just one parameter here we're passing, we don't need these brackets, right? So we just can get rid of these brackets too, and it's still going to work, guys. Isn't it amazing? I think it is amazing. And yeah, guys, so pretty much it, right? So you can still see like you passing this 20, and you at the beginning you passing it as a y, and it's going to be 20 divided by this divider, and divider is at the beginning is we don't know what it is. It's undefined essentially, and then we're returning this function back, right? And here we just passing the actual divider, which is 2, right? And then it's going to be 20 divided by 2, and we returning 10. And similar situation in case of this function divide by 4, right? But instead of 2, we're going to pass 4 as a divider, right? So it's going to be 20 divided by 4, as you remember, and as a result it's going to be 5. Let's run it again, and I'm pretty sure that it should work. Here you go, guys, it's working. Is it great? I'm really I really like this approach, the Nita one, and I try to use it in many cases as many cases as possible. Wait, actually it's possible to use it, and especially this kind of approach is 6 approach is really widely used in case of React.js implementation. I think I did mention before, essentially React.js, it's a library, right? And we also using JavaScript like in case of this library implementation. So yeah, and it's a front end library, and I use this kind of approach in order to define the functions on a daily basis. So it's amazing how readable it is, and it's much nicer. It looks much nicer, when you have to define so many functions. Like here, for instance, it's not a lot of functionality, right? But if you come up with a huge class or with a lot of functions, and trust me, like this kind of clean approach would save you in the long run. It would save a lot of time in order to debug stuff, in order to debug code, or like if a newcomer would start reading the code, right? It's going to be much easier for a new developer to start reading the code. I mean, from my experience, that's what I found. I think it's enough for this tutorial, guys. Essentially, I showed that I was planning to show, and yeah, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you in next tutorial. And essentially, in next tutorial, I'm going to discuss about standard like higher order functions that we utilize or use on a daily basis, and they're provided by standard JavaScript language. So, and I'm going to talk about function that we are especially using in order to manipulate with arrays. And previously, guys, I discussed about some of them. It's like filter and map, but I'm going to discuss about more like more about like extra functions. So because there are more to functions that can be utilized in order to manipulate with arrays, trust me. And like the functions that I'm going to discuss about, they're really helpful too, and probably some people would say they're even more helpful than functions like filter and map. Anyway, guys, I'm going to keep it like as a small secret, and see you in next tutorial, guys. Please like this tutorial, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and if you follow my tutorials, and see you guys. Goodbye.